To begin adding content to your course, first open your course in D2L and then select the content link from the default course navbar. Before you can start uploading files and creating content within your D2L course, you must first create a module. Modules act as folders, so before you begin creating and adding your content, it's always a good practice to sit down and determine what the structure of your course is going to be. For example, if you plan to organize your course content chronologically, you can create one module for each week of the semester. Then, within each of those weekly modules, you add the content such as lectures and class notes, assignment guidelines, and supplemental reading materials that your students are going to need in order to complete all of that week's assignments and reach all of that week's objectives. Regardless of the organizational method you decide, make sure that the structure of each module remains consistent. To create a module, type in your module's name in one of two places. You can type in your module's name over here in the Add a Module text box located within the table of contents, or you can type in your module's name in the Add a Module text box directly on the content workspace. After you've typed in your module's name, press Enter on your keyboard, and your new module will open in the content workspace. You'll know a module is open, of course, because that module's rectangle in the table of contents will be blue. I'm going to create some additional modules using this same workflow, so I'm going to click inside the Add a Module text box located within the table of contents, and then I'll type my module's name, and then I'll press Enter on my keyboard. I'll create one additional module. Again, I'm going to click inside the Add a Module text box, but this time I'm going to do it located within that content workspace. I'll type in my module's name, and then I'll press Enter on my keyboard. Now that I have some modules created, I can begin adding or creating actual content files in my course. In D2L, files are called topics, regardless of the file extension. Topics are housed inside of modules. Some examples of content topics you may have in your course are your course syllabus, a course schedule, weekly or module objectives, required readings such as articles that you may have downloaded from the shared library website, book chapters in a traditional textbook or an e-textbook, required videos or video segments and other multimedia files, presentations, slideshows, collections of images, an assignment that lists your criteria and expectations, and links to other learning activities such as a Dropbox folder, an online quiz, or a discussion board. To upload a file from your computer, follow these steps. The easiest way to get files into your course is to drag and drop them from your computer. Now, this action is not supported in Internet Explorer, so if you're using Internet Explorer browser, you'll need to switch to Google Chrome or Firefox or Safari. To drag and drop files from your computer, first we need to locate that file on your computer. I'm going to be using the Windows Explorer, and my file is going to be located on a USB drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Windows Explorer from my taskbar. Now, if you do not have this icon on your taskbar, you can simply open the Windows Explorer by clicking the Start button and then selecting My Computer. Locate your file in this Windows Explorer, and once you've located your file, single-click on the file name and then hold your mouse button down while simultaneously dragging it over to your D2L course. If this is the first time that you've added a file, there'll be a dotted box inside of the content workspace. You drag that file over, so hover on top of the dotted box and it will turn green, signaling that you can then release your mouse button. Now, if you've already got files in your course module, you won't see this green dotted box. Instead, you'll see a gray bar. So when you see the gray bar display, you'll know that your file is going to be uploaded and placed directly into that location. You can also manually add files by following these steps. Choose a module, click the New button, and choose Upload Files, and this Add a File pop-up box will display. Go ahead and click on the Upload button in this Add a File pop-up box. Navigate to find the file on your computer and double-click it. You'll then return to this Add a File pop-up box. Now, a best practice is to then place this file inside of the appropriate folder inside of Manage Files. So if you remember, Manage Files is D2L's file repository that's working in the background. To choose the specific folder in Manage Files, click this Choose a Destination button and then select the appropriate Manage Files folder. If one does not exist, you can click New Folder to create one. After you've finished, click the blue Add button down in the lower left-hand corner of the Add a File pop-up box. Regardless of your method of adding files, whether you're dragging or dropping or adding files manually, you can select multiple files at a time. The next option for creating content topics in your course is to create a file directly in D2L. Click on the blue New button within a module and then select Create a File. This action will open the HTML editor and will allow you to enter your course content. Enter a title in the Title text box. The title is what your students are going to click on to open this file. Then populate your content in the HTML editor. This content can be as straightforward or as dynamic as you would like. Use the formatting ribbon to insert images, embed videos, insert links to other learning activities, and insert links to external websites. You can also create headers for your content by using paragraph heading options. This HTML editor accepts HTML code, so if you are web design savvy, you have the freedom to customize this content as you wish. But if you're not design savvy, that's okay too. We have some templates that you can use, or you can just simply type in your text. As always, you can contact D2L help at etsu.edu for help with creating or customizing your files. But the most important thing to remember in all of this when creating your files in D2L is content accessibility. Content accessibility will be covered in a different video. After you've created your content, you can click Publish to release the file automatically to your students. Clicking Save as Draft will save the file, but it will not release the file to your students, and clicking Cancel will discard any changes that you've made. I'm going to click Publish so that I can return back to my Content tool. You can create a link to an external website and place that link directly onto your module by selecting the Create a Link option from the blue New button. Enter a title in the Title text box, which is, again, what your students are going to click on to open the link, and then enter the website's URL in the URL text box. Now, this URL has to be exact, so I always suggest copying and pasting the URL as opposed to typing it in yourself. If the website is not part of the D2L learning environment, click that Open as External Resource checkbox to force the website to open in a new window or a new tab. Then, click the Create button. D2L will create your link and take you to this topic page where you can click the Open in New Window button to test the link to make sure that it's opening correctly. If you need to make any changes to that website's URL, click the Edit Link button. I'm going to use our breadcrumb trail here at the top of the page to return back to my table of contents. You can add files using the Manage Files option to select pre-existing files within your course. For example, I'm going to add my citation handout to my Week 2 module. Now, this file is already located in my course information module, so I don't have to re-upload it again. Instead, I'll select Add from Manage Files from this blue New button, and then browse to locate my handout. Once I've spotted it, I can click the radio button to the left of the file name and then click Add. Using the Add from Manage Files option is a great way to reuse a file in several different locations within your content. The lower options of the blue New button provide quick access to creating learning activities. Now, I caution you to use any of these lower options because the best practice is always to navigate to that particular tool and create the learning activity from within the tool itself. For example, let's say you want to create a discussion board topic. I always suggest opening up the Discussions tool, so clicking Communication and then selecting Discussions, and then creating your forum and topic from this actual Discussions tool. That way you have access to all of the options and assessment features that D2L Discussions support. Then, after you've created the discussion board, use the Add Existing Activities button to insert a link directly to that activity within your module. Going along with that same discussion board example, I'm going to select the Add Existing Activities button and a window will pop open. I'll select the Discussions tool, and then I'll select my forum, and then I'll select the topic that's pre-existing. And D2L will insert a link directly to this discussion board topic right into my module. To learn more about placing restrictions such as start, due, and end dates, release conditions, and visibility settings on your content modules and topics, view the Managing Content instructional video.